What's going on, guys? I'm glad you're here at Seaver Shoots, back with another video. As you can tell, I'm talking about my plate carrier from Armored Republic, or AR500 Armor. I'll refer to them back and forth. That Armored Republic is a new name for them. This is their Veritas plate carrier. It's one of their most affordable setups, which is why I ended up going with it, because I wanted to get into something, especially with all the craziness that's going on in the world. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end as far as recommendations go for you. But before I get into the carrier itself, I want to talk about my buddy Dan at McKinney Holsters. This is his Talon holster. It starts out at $58, and no matter what you add to it, it doesn't go up from there. So you can have a claw, light bearing, high or low sweat guard, add colors, do an optics cut. He's got tons of options as far as firearms themselves go, and no matter what you add in the holster builder to the Talon holster, it will be $58, except it can be even less than that now. If you use the code SeaverShoots at checkout, it'll save you about 15%. Now, let's get into the carrier. So I like this carrier. I think it's very versatile. It's also very affordable, so you don't have any excuse on why you can't get into armor and carriers. This is about $90. Now, a little caveat to that is the Cummerbund Kit that I highly recommend, and I'll talk about that. It is also $40 on top of that, and it comes separate. Obviously, if you order them together, they'll come together. You do have to install the Cummerbund Kit, and I'm gonna start by talking about that. So you have to rip open this kangaroo pouch. The Cummerbund Kit comes with a placard here in the front. It's got a little Velcro piece that you stuff back into the kangaroo pouch, and that's what retains it in there. It does a really good job. There's these little tabs down here that help it stay strapped down to your carrier so the placard doesn't come flying off, and there's the back side of your placard. Now, behind my straps here is Malle and Velcro. Behind my mag carriers on the placard is Malle and Velcro. It's the same system. They made sure to do that so that you didn't lose any of your possibilities as far as attachments go when adding the placard in. And then obviously you'll see the top strap of my Cummerbund Kit. The other one is under it. The way that you attach this is on the back placard back here, where there's also a good amount of Malle and attachment points. This is actually Velcroed down. You rip it open, and then you stuff the Cummerbund Kit through. You try to get it as centered as possible. Mine is centered, and I didn't have to change the size of it at all. It comes with a little bungee cord system that goes through the holes here on, these are actually two separate straps, but they bungee together with that bungee cord. You can take the bungee cord out and then overlap it more if you need a tighter fit. Mine was perfect right out of the box, so I just stuffed it through, got that thing on center, and then strapped it on. It is way more comfortable than the buckle strap. It keeps the plate carrier tighter to your body, and it distributes the weight really nice. I've got a shoulder injury from playing college sports, and when I had just the buckle strap, after wearing this for a while, I would start to feel some soreness in the shoulder, and you'd see me start to lift the carrier up to give myself some relief. But between the padding that's on these shoulder straps and the Cummerbund taking some of the weight out, this is a very comfortable system. There's also padding on the inside of both the front and back plate carrier. So it's a very comfortable, very breathable system. This is great for training. This is great for running. With the buckle straps, when I would run, it'd bounce a little bit too much. I was worried I was gonna get knocked in the chin. With the Cummerbund Kit, not only can I breathe a little bit more comfortably, it does not bounce hardly at all. It's not noticeable. So if you're gonna go with the Veritas, definitely spend that extra 40 bucks and get yourself that Cummerbund Kit. And then from there, test out which one you like more, whether it's the straps or the Cummerbund Kit. At the end of the day, the nice thing about this is how versatile it is. You really can set it up to your liking. So now let's get into how I carry magazines, and we'll talk a little bit more about customizing this. So if you watched my last video, you probably remember I had 3 mag carriers, all AR-15, all facing up. That's a pretty traditional way of setting up a plate carrier. Lots of people do it, and by doing this, I'm not saying that they are wrong. I just like this better. So the first thing I'll talk about is mobility. I like this whole upper chest area to be accessible, and the reason is because this is where you get the weld for your AR-15 into your shoulder. This is where your AR-15 sits, and you want to make sure that that is comfortable and consistent. as well. So my issue with this when I was running 3 across all facing up was that there was a lot of interference between my brace and the magazine itself. Either I would be on top of the magazine sometimes on accident, or I'd get caught behind it when I was trying to pull away. I like to have this whole area open for mobility reasons, is what I'm going to call it. Now, I could still run stuff in the MOLLE area here and it probably wouldn't interfere, but for now, I like to leave it nice and open. The next thing I'll talk about is accessibility, and that is for AR-15 mags as well as pistol mags. So let's think about running them across the top here. When I run empty, I have to reach up and over my sling. I like to be on top of my sling with it over my arm, so I either have to swim my elbow under and get to it, or I have to chicken wing out to get to it. Then I gotta kink this wrist, get down, index that mag, pull it up and around my sling or through my sling and then up into my mag well. I don't like to swim out of my sling. I like it to stay under my arm at all times. So this makes things a little bit more accessible. So when I'm shooting, I run dry. Now my arm over my sling just comes down to the mag. Nice straight wrist, anatomically more comfortable. I get a good solid grip on the exposed part of the magazine, and then from there it's just down, up, slap bolt release, go back to work. So in my opinion, it's just a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more accessible to have these things pointing down, less things to think about, less places to get hung up and snagged. So I like that. And then it's exactly the same with pistols. I'm out here shooting, bang, 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 run dry, come into my workspace. I just grab here, pull down, shove up, and I'm back to work. Again, I'll put in some B-roll that shows you that, for me at least, it is a lot smoother to run things this way. Now, I want to get into why people don't like this kind of setup, why people shy away from this, and that comes down to retention. People are worried that if they run things upside down, they're going to spill their junk all over the ground. That won't happen if you have the right kinds of magazine carriers. So these, as you can see, have some bungee cords that wrap all the way through the system. That's on both the pistol and the AR mag carriers. And so what I do is I fill these to capacity, I shove them up into place, and then I bounce around a little bit, or I do a little run around the house, and if anything comes loose, then I know that I need to tighten that one a little bit more. Now, it's a bit of a balancing act between it being loose enough that you can pull it out easily, and it being tight enough that things don't fall out while you're running and gunning and running around. Now, the thing for me is I go on like 3-mile jogs with this thing, and these are always full when I do that because I want to make sure that it's realistic that I'm running with it like that. And I haven't had any issues with slipping or anything falling out. So as far as I can tell, this is working for me right now. I've also run it at the range plenty of times. Same thing, no slipping, no issues with things falling out. Let's talk about my plates just briefly because there's not too much to say about them. They are level 3+ lightweight. The front one is a swimmer, and that shouldn't concern you getting a swimmer cut because your heart is not all the way over here like people think from cartoons and movies. Your heart is centered just a little bit to the left in your chest. So this definitely covers that for me, as you can see from the cut. Also, obviously we want to have it up to our sternal notch, which is something that you have to adjust with your shoulder straps and your cummerbund and things like that. So this front one's swimmer cut, the back one is a sappy cut because you don't need as much mobility rotating your arms backwards as you do reaching across and rotating your arms forward. So that's why I set it up this way. And then it gives me just a little bit more protection across my back as well. Now, as far as the rating goes, I talked about this in my last video. There are a lot of armor level rating shamers out there, is how I like to refer to them. And they think that if you're running anything less than level 4, then you need to figure your stuff out because you're gonna get shot by a black tip 30-06 and it's gonna go straight through you. This all comes down to environment. In the environment that I live in, and that I'm likely to fight in, odds are very low that I'm ever going to run into a armor-piercing 30-06. I am most likely to run into green tip 556, and that will be the same for most people. And 3+ lightweight is rated to stop green tip 556. I have seen some of these tested by other people take 30-06 and stop it. I've also seen other people test it with 30-06 and not stop it. So, you know, there's a little bit of luck involved with that one if I were to ever come across it. But as far as the plates go, right now, this whole thing is a training setup that I'm not afraid to crap all over because it is affordable. I didn't spend a ton of money on some Gucci setup that I'm afraid to go roll around in the dirt, scuff up, maybe get it ripped a little bit. I haven't. This has held up very well, but I can sweat in this, bleed in it, whatever it comes to, get it super dirty. I don't feel bad because I didn't blow a ton of money on it. And at the end of the day, the extra weight of the metal plates is going to benefit me when I have a better setup in the future. If I have to throw that one on, it's going to be lighter. I'll be able to move around better because I trained in this. This is where my rant comes in. And it starts with a phrase that you should be familiar with if you watched my videos. And it's, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. There are some of you right now who are saving up for Gucci setups. And if you're close to getting it, go for it. Continue to save and get that Gucci setup. But if you are 6 months to a year from getting that setup put together, you probably should go with something more affordable that you can get right now. Even if it's not necessarily as quality, if it will somewhat do the job, it's better to have something now than to have nothing now and something bad happen. If that makes any sense. Goes right along with my phrase, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So right now I have this. This is my training setup. It stops green tip 556. It's got plenty of attachment points and it's comfortable for me to wear. And while I am using this and I have this available for use, I will save up until I can upgrade to a better carrier, level 4s, maybe update how I'm running it in this region. I wanted to get something that I could have now, that I could be confident in now, instead of waiting until it's maybe too late. 2 things I'll say. I'm not an operator, you're probably not an operator. You don't need to run the super Gucci stuff that operators run that are paid for by the government in the first place. The second thing that I'm going to say is a lot of people will tell you buy once, cry once. Well, you can't cry at all if you're dead. So think about that. Think about what you can afford. The nice thing about Armored Republic is that they offer financing through a thing called Viabil on their website. And Viabil is a third-party company of some kind. And what they do is they take whatever you're paying and they break it up into 4 months of payments and they don't add any interest to the end as long as you make your payments. So just a simple example, if you spend $200 on Armored Republic's website and you choose to do the financing with Viabil, they will break it up into 4 months of $50 payments. So you'll make your first $50 payment at purchase, you'll make another one next month, another one the month after that, and then one more 4th payment, and then you own whatever it is that you bought. I mean, technically you'll own it already because you will get it before you pay it off, which is kind of the point here. If you can't afford Gucci and if you can't even afford this, you can at least finance it and there won't be any added interest in the end. I think that's a pretty cool option for there to be. There aren't a ton of companies out there that offer financing for their really nice top-of-the-line Gucci stuff, and if they do, odds are good you're going to pay some interest on the top there. So I know that some of the opinions that I shared here, whether it's how I set this up or my opinion as far as getting your setup goes, I know that they're not going to be the most popular opinions out there, and that's okay. I wanted to give you my opinion on this plate carrier and my opinion on how to best set it up, at least for me. Here at the end of the video, I just want to talk about you guys reaching out to me, which I love. Unfortunately, the best place to do that is not the comment section of my videos. I love it when people comment on my videos because it shows that you're engaged and you're curious or that you want to share your opinion with me. I love all of those things, but YouTube is notorious for not sending notifications to me when somebody has commented, so I usually don't get around to it super quickly as far as responding goes. If you want to reach out to me, if you have a question or if you have an opinion that you want to share with me, go ahead and reach out to me on Instagram. If you DM me, I will see it, and odds are good I will respond to it fairly quickly. So reach out to me on Instagram, @SeaverShoots is my handle. Guys, if you liked the video, go ahead and like and subscribe, and as always, I will catch you later.